And on the 8th day, God looked down on his planned paradise and said, I need a caretaker. So God made a farmer.
Howdy folks, I'm Darren.
I'm Susan.
Welcome to the 8th Day Chronicles channel here at Cross Timbers Farm. We're glad to have you with us today. We are going to start a small series on our dairy goats. We've had some interest in people kind of wanting to know a little bit about them and what they are and what breed and things of that nature. So we're going to start out with our herd boss today. This is Lana.
Yeah, Lana has a very long registered name, so we just call her Lady Lana or Big Mama Lana. She's actually about to turn 3 years old. Her birthday is 2/29/20, so we really haven't decided if we're going to have a party on March 1st or February 28th.
She's a leap year baby.
Have a leap year baby. Lana is what we call an industrial size Oberhaslis. She has more the traditional purebred look to her. She is 100% registered American Oberhaslis.
Yes, and I've got some notes here. I have to keep some notes. Oberhaslis are originally from the canton of Bern in Switzerland, in the Swiss Alps, is where these goats originated from. And they were first brought to the United States in the early 1900s. And when they were first brought over, my understanding is they were crossed with other breeds of goats, and the purebred line of Oberhaslis at that point was lost. There were no more purebred Oberhaslis in the United States. However, back about 1936, if I'm not mistaken and my research was right, if my research was right, a gentleman brought over a small herd of purebred Oberhaslis from the Bernese Oberland area in central Switzerland, and he maintained the purebred bloodline. Thanks to this gentleman, we now have purebred herds in the United States. However, they are very, very few. Most Oberhaslis you see in the United States nowadays are American Oberhaslis. However, they are a few purebreds. Now, back in 1977, the dairy goat registries separated the Oberhaslis out of the Alpine stud book. Originally in the dairy registries, the Oberhaslis were registered as Swiss Alpines. And because of the distinct nature between the Oberhaslis and the Alpines in 1977, they separated these two breeds and started registering these goats in the Oberhasli registry book. And the early animals that were brought over in the early 1900s were bred with other lines of dairy breeds and different goats, and that line was lost, and this gentleman had these brought over. The name Oberhasli comes from where these goats originally come from. They come from the Oberhals district of Bernese Oberland in central Switzerland. So these are a Swiss breed dairy goat.
Yep. I just want to mention real quick the difference in a purebred and an American bred is simply that a purebred, both sides, dam and sire side, can be traced back without any outsourcing to the original 5 goats that were brought over in 1936. An American-bred Oberhaslis could be purebred, but at some point, either a goat, the dam was not registered, or there was an outcrossing with another dairy breed. And to be 100% American Oberhaslis, you have to have 5 generations with no outcross.
Yeah,
So that's the main difference.
I've had a few people ask me through email and things, why do you have Oberhaslis? What led you to choose Oberhaslis for your dairy herd? And I can answer that pretty easily. Susan may have her own reasons, but for me, my reasons was, out of all the goats we've owned, and we got a little in there that's got some hay caught in her throat. Out of all the goat breeds we've owned, we've had meat breeds, we've had Kikos and registered Boers. We've had golden Guernsey dairy goats, which a lot of people don't even know there is such a thing as a golden Guernsey dairy goat.
It's very new to the ADGA registry.
Yeah.
We've had La Mancha, we've had Alpine, and we've had a Kiko Alpine cross.
You said La Mancha. We had one La Mancha. Out of all the goats, now this is my personal opinion, out of all the goats we have owned, the Oberhaslis has a few traits that really sets it apart for me. Number one is the does in this line, in Oberhaslis. These are the most gentle, calm goats we've ever owned. They are very people-oriented. They love being around you. They are very, very smart. And another thing that really sets them off for me is they are extremely quiet. They make very little noise. You hardly even know they're here.
If they're making a noise, especially the older they get, then there's something going on. If they're making atypical noise levels for them, you might ought to see something's probably wrong.
Yeah, they're very quiet, and now this is, like I said, this is my personal feelings. Out of all the goat breeds we've owned, I have never had goats that were more graceful than an Oberhaslis. Now, that's hard for me to describe, saying graceful. I realize that. But when you watch these Oberhaslis in the pastures around the barn, they are graceful animals, aren't they? Just the way their mannerisms and the way they conduct themselves, they are just graceful. Now, Lana here is the herd boss. She's the herd queen. And anytime you have a herd of dairy goat does, you're going to have one that's going to be the boss. That's normal.
Same with any species.
Yes.
Somebody has to be the boss. She has calmed down now. I should have mentioned when we brought her in here, this area is off limits.
Yeah, it's new to her.
She was a little anxious about being in here.
Yeah.
She's calmed down.
Yeah, let's let her scoot over so you can see her a little better and her back end.
Hold her. There. Easier.
But Lana is a absolute sweetheart. We love Lana, and how we ended up with Lana was a gift from heaven, I do believe. An animal, the caliber, the conformation, the bloodline and lineage of Lana is very, very rare to find available that you could buy. However, we found a small family farm that had a few dairy goats on their property, and due to the lady's health, they were getting out of dairy goats. She could no longer, due to her health, upkeep her dairy herd, so she decided just to quit, and she was selling her animals. And I was the first one to arrive to look at them. And when I saw Lana in the pasture, I made a beeline to her. And I didn't even know nothing about her bloodline, but based on her conformation, and I got her, she came right up to me, and I petted on her and looked at her and checked her conformation out really close, went all over her with a fine-tooth comb. She was the picture of a perfect Oberhaslis doe, and I was able to buy her.
She has this beautiful boxy head.
And Lana is an absolute sweetheart, and she
to us,
and she is the herd boss. She quickly became the herd boss here, and she is a gem. Lana is an absolute gem of a goat, and we were so fortunate to be able to buy her. When I seen her in the pasture and was able to buy her, it was like I had hit the lottery. She was just the absolute picture perfect animal for our dairy herd. And we really love Lana. She is a fantastic animal, and she is heavy bred, as you can see. She's due to kid
February 20th.
in about 20 days. She's getting close. So, and Lana is bred to our purebred registered Oberhaslis buck rodeo. So we're looking really forward to the kids. This will be Lana's first kidding, actually. She is how old?
She will be 3 on February 29th, which is not coming this year, so she's got to decide on which day she wants to have her birthday.
Yeah, so the lady, the super nice lady that owned Lana, had never bred her. She did not have a buck on the property, and she was having to transport does to get them bred to certain places, and she had never bred Lana. And 3 years old's a little old for their first freshening.
Yeah.
So, but Lana is in absolute fantastic health, and that's another reason I chose Oberhaslis. With some other breeds of goats we have owned, we have never had quite the good health and parasite resistance and stuff that we have had with Oberhaslis.
We're 3 weeks out from her kidding. She has no signs of toxemia, which, if that's managed with diet, it's not very common in dairy goats, but still, she has had no issues. Her FOMACHA score has stayed phenomenal. She's put on weight, but not an unhealthy amount of weight, nor has she lost weight.
Yeah, if I had to take someone anywhere that I know of, someone said, take me and show me the perfect Oberhaslis doe, where would I take her? I would come right to our own farm and walk out here in the pasture and say, right there she is, and I'd point to Lana. Lana is a perfect fit for our farm, and she is just a sweetheart. And another reason I chose Oberhaslis, while our farm went with all Oberhaslis for our dairy, is out of all the goat milk that I have drank, all the breeds we've had and all the goat milk that I have drank, I have had none better than Oberhaslis. Oberhaslis milk, and I hate to even start to describe.
Don't compare it to cow's milk, because there's no comparison. If your goat's milk is handled properly, it is absolutely sweeter and smoother and more digestible and more palatable than store-bought cow's milk.
I agree. However, I have never had goat's milk out of any other breed, and you're not going to like me for saying this, but this is me. I have never had any other goat milk that tasted as close to cows at Guernsey or Jersey cow milk than I have
seen milk from the store.
than I have Oberhaslis goat milk. Oberhaslis milk, to me, has its own little bit of a unique taste that is absolutely delicious.
Everything is dependent upon diet and conditioning.
Yes, it is.
With milk. However, he's right. There is something a little more distinct about Oberhaslis milk.
And I've always said with milk, and it don't matter if it's milk or if you raise beef cattle or if you raise meat goats, you will get out of your product what you put into it. If you're, let's just say, a dairy cow, if you own a Jersey cow and that cow eats wild onions out in the field and eats off stuff like that all the time, just junk, guess what your milk's going to taste like? Junk. If your animals are browsing and grazing good grasses, orchard grasses, legumes, alfalfa, clover, guess what your milk's going to taste like?
And browse. They need
and browse, yes. Guess what your milk's going to taste like?
Freshness.
It's going to taste nice and fresh. So that's one reason we chose Oberhaslis.
Here's another. One reason we chose goats over sheep is this. They want to be your friend.
They do.
They are very people oriented. And except for maybe Nigerians, she's a little distracted here.
Yeah.
Oberhaslis,
Come on.
in our experience, and other people I know have had different experiences. In our experience, Oberhaslis are the most people-oriented of what we've owned.
Yeah, every time we come to the barn, we walk out into the pasture, every one of our herd of does and bucks, don't they? They come to the fence to greet you. They like seeing you.
She's a little upset being away from her herd.
Yeah. But this is Lana. And Lana is 3 years old, and she is our herd boss. She's the herd queen. And when she came here, it didn't take her long at all to establish that she was the boss over all the other does. She is our herd queen, and we're looking really forward to kids out of her and our purebred buck rodeo. Mm-hmm. Really forward to it.
Let's turn her this way, and let's see if we can, because she will be kidding in less than a month. Let's see if we can kind of guess how many babies there might be in there. Put your guesses in the comment. Now remember, from the angle you're looking at, this is the side. Wait a minute. I'm back.
Left is lunch.
Yeah. This is the room inside. This is where the food is stored. And right side is reproduction. So what you're seeing here and in her barrel.
Yeah, and underneath. Yeah.
Let's how many babies we think might be in there.
I don't know, but Lana is an absolute doll. I really like Lana. She has been an asset to this farm.
And a sweetheart.
Okay, this is Lana. This is the first we'll show you of our goats. We'll go through some of the rest of them later in later videos. Like I said, Lana is our herd queen, so we figured she should go first, and she's about to kid, and we're going to bring you along the kidding season too, coming up really, really fast.
Make sure and put those comments of how many she's got in there and whether you think we're going to get bucks or does.
Yeah, that'd be great. All right, thanks for being with us here this nice, beautiful February day. Man, I'm telling you, January was just wet and cold and rainy and very little sun, and it's the 1st of February now, actually a few days into February, and we've got some sun out today. It's nice.
Yeah, welcome to the South, where you're wearing flip-flops today and snow boots tomorrow.
Yeah, we're in the mountains in the South, so a little different than most places southern. But in any event, thanks for being with us here at Cross Timbers Farm today and letting us introduce you to Lana, our herd queen. If you haven't, we'd sure appreciate if you'd subscribe to our channel. God bless and have a good evening.